All right, so now that you have gone through the exercises of trying the roll over all of the common roots of all of the chords ever created in the universe and through multiple chord progressions, I think it's time for you to test out your skills in the real world. Now, as we talk about in any of our soloing lessons, the first thing you want to do before you try to solo over a song is really get used to the song. So whether you're doing Miss Nightingale or Are You Are Mine, or even some jazz standard, Take the A Train or Autumn Leaves, or whatever you're working on for Kloppel Academy, you want to make sure you can play through the chords. So actually just chunking out, all of your major 7 chords in there, all of your minor 7 chords, and whatever is showing up, and also be able to play the melody. Then the goal after that is to just, on your solo, stake out one of those chords. I see a C major 7 chord coming up. I'm going to try playing my major 7 thing from the 1 right there. This is all way more processed in your brain than what you want this to be eventually. Eventually, it's going to be very, very organic. But for right now, we're just on purpose trying to stick something in there so that you can hear yourself play it and have your ear go, ooh, that sounded really forced, or whoa, that sounded way cooler than I expected. Generally, especially beginning pianists are going to find that the roll off of the 3 is going to sound cooler, more jazzy than the roll off of the 1, but try them all in all of the different situations we've already talked about and you've already practiced. Once you have a song and you can play the song, you've already done so much great work on the roll. This is going to go really well. Stick it in as many places as you can. And just like when you're learning a language, you learn some new word. Let's say you already are kind of familiar with the language. You learn some new word. There's only one way to really find out how you're supposed to use that word, and that is to go out and overuse it, and to use it in some new situation where you think the people around you already know what that word is, and you say it, and you kind of look at their facial expression to go, do they all think that I'm an idiot now, or do I just fit in better now? In trying to gauge all of that feedback. And that's why kids who are learning a lot of new words, when they're in those stages, they often sound awkward because they're just trying out a whole bunch of stuff and putting it in places it doesn't fit. And that's how they learn whether it's right or not. You're going to do the same thing with the roll and every other idiom. You're going to put it into solos just a ridiculous amount. And that's fine. It's going to sound terrible. That's all right. It's probably not going to sound terrible. It's probably going to sound better than most of the stuff you've played so far. But it's not going to sound like a jazz player would play. That's fine. The way the jazz players ended up playing the way they play is to listen to a lot of jazz, to identify all of the things, or to try to play all that stuff, and then to try to use it themselves. And they used it way more than was appropriate, as you will. That's fine. You're fitting right in. You're a jazz player. You're learning right along with everybody else. And the amount to which you underuse or overuse different idioms or licks or phrases will just turn into your style. If you like it, then do it, regardless of whether it's idiomatic to the jazz language. This is all about giving you extra tools to sound the way that your heart, that your soul, that your spirit wants to sound as you're playing. So try it in all the different possible ways, and don't worry about, is this the right way to use this thing? Just use it and let your ear be the judge. And as always, if you want to send in a recording of you playing and say, does this thing really fit in? I like the way it sounded here, but I'm not quite sure if it fit in, then we'll be happy to give you feedback about your own playing and the way you've incorporated this thing. It's time to play this for real. Good luck. Here we go. Oh, real quick, one note before we get started. So the roll is more versatile than most of the idioms that we use because it's not really an idiom per se. So that means you get to mess with this one a lot more than most of the idioms that we would teach in the later lessons. So that means if you've got some major 7 chord and you want to roll it up and you also want to roll it down, that's fine. You can do that, or you can just come down with it, or you can do a double maybe, like something like that, or however it is that you want to take this thing and break it apart, then feel free to experiment with that as well. You don't just have to play it the way we've practiced it. You should practice the way that we've practiced it, because what I always tell students is when they're like, well, I'd rather do this thing over here, I always tell them, well, show me the first way to prove that you can, And then once you know that you can do it the right way, then you can play it however you prefer, but you just don't want to be constrained by convenience. You don't want whatever is easiest for you to play to be the thing that dictates what you sound like. So if you find it easier to play quarter notes instead of, well, you might like quarter notes better, but you might just be doing that because that's an easier thing to do. So first, play it the right way, the way that we've given it to you. And then after you've proven that you can do it, it's not a matter of convenience or difficulty, then yeah, mess with it all that you want. And none of the stuff that you're going to be playing, if you like the way that it sounds, none of it is going to be wrong. So experiment with it, play around, feel free to submit videos. All right, now, good luck, get to work.